Greetings, my fellow Industrians. Nicholas here, breaking the fourth wall and taking to the skies in my creative test role to explain my plans for Industriville, my new modded Minecraft Let's Play series of an approximation of the Refugee to Region Challenge. New episodes will be uploaded every Tuesday and Friday at 6 p.m. U.S. Central Time. Of course, there is quite a bit of work behind the scenes to make this series work. One of the things I want to do with this series is to maintain an in-game character for this series. The issue with that is that it compels me to avoid breaking the fourth wall by discussing technical points related to the series. To avoid that problem, I am making this video to explain many of the decisions that will make this series my best ever. Don't worry, I brought more than enough fuel for this discussion. First off, I need to mention the mod pack. I could bore you with a long list of installed mods, but given that the mod pack is based off an existing mod pack, it would be easier to give you the mod pack and modifications made. I'm starting with a base, which is the Resonant Rise mod pack version 3.2.5.3. I did add to that Agricraft, custom NPCs, Highlands, Journey Map, and Railcraft. And then I removed Growthcraft Bees, only the bee component, none of the others, Calculator, Shokocraft, Ex Nihilo, Ex Asteris, Falling Meteors, Fossils and Archaeology Revival, Hardcore Questing Mode, Minechem, Project E, and Tubes. I'm using Resonant Rise 3.2.5.3 because it was the most current version as of the time I started setting up the mod pack. Since then, Resonant Rise 3.2.6.0 was released with significant changes. I will not be making the upgrade during the season if I can help it to avoid delays due to mod pack breakage. If you're using Resonant Rise 3.2.6.0, note that Galacticraft will need to be added manually, while Railcraft is now included and no longer needs to be added to the pack. I've also made some configuration changes to make certain aspects of the challenge more interesting while eliminating certain frustrations. First off, nether ores do not explode. By default they do. I have massively increased the ocean priority. Note that this test world was created before that modification. River priority has been greatly increased. And lakes also are more common. The max tool level has been set to 20, and I've made some modifications to the bonus levels to reflect that. The Torturino recipe has been modified to require a nether star, 2 ardite, 3 clocks, and a redstone torch. The mechanism, electrical age, and thermal foundation tools are no longer functional, and Agricraft weeds have been disabled. Now that I've explained the mods I'm using, allow me to explain how the challenge itself will work. The key point of the Refugee to Region Challenge is that resources are gated by stage. In preparing for this series, I took note of Iguana Tweaks, a mod that adds tier-based gating to Tinker's Construct. Further research reveals that there are 9 tiers available, which, in conjunction with a basic initial tier, maps perfectly onto the former 10-stage challenge. Thus, Iguana Tweaks will provide my primary gating for this challenge. More specifically, the first stage, where the challenge will begin, will see me allowed to craft only wood and paper tools and use only resources that I can obtain by hand. Each subsequent stage corresponds to a tier from Iguana Tweaks. In each stage, I am allowed to use materials and tools that may be legally obtained using a tool from the relevant tier. For example, in stage 2, I am allowed to use stone and coal, but not copper. While an upgraded flint pickaxe can mine copper, it belongs to the copper tier rather than the stone tier, and so its usage must wait until stage 3, which corresponds to the copper tier. The one exception to the above rule is redstone. Due to the fact that redstone and diamonds are gated to the same stage, namely stage 6, if I follow the standard rule for both, stage 6 will simply be too long. To avoid this problem, although redstone requires a redstone level pick, I will allow its unrestricted use during stage 5. Now, the general rule above falls apart for certain mods which have their own shorter stage sets and certain materials that would be overpowered if used too early. To avoid these problems, I'm imposing the following additional rules on the challenge. First off, in my one rule of cool cheat, and yes, this is technically a cheat, I will give myself a research book, research station, and engineering station from ancient weapons. During stage 1, the game will be held in peaceful difficulty. Subsequent stages will be played on easy difficulty. Clay is not usable until stage 2. Any wool obtained before stage 3 must be turned into beds without delay. Ender pearls are not usable until stage 5. Magical crops first becomes usable in stage 6. It requires diamonds. There are 4 levels of essence: weak, regular, strong, and extreme. Weak essence is usable in stage 6. Regular essence must wait for stage 7, strong essence for stage 8, and extreme essence for stage 9. Blood magic also becomes usable in stage 6 and has 6 tiers. Thus, tiers 1 and 2 are permitted in stage 6, and each subsequent stage allows me to expand the blood magic system by 1 tier. Archimedes' ships relies on materials available in stage 4, but to avoid imbalance, it will be deferred to stage 5. MC heli aircraft rely on materials available in stage 4, but to avoid imbalance, it will be deferred until tier 7. Teleportation and instant transport is only allowed between dimensions, not within a dimension. The exception is the elevator, which is not affected by that rule. All transportation between a particular pair of dimensions must be contained within a single structure in each dimension. And finally, any materials obtained by whatever means that are not legal for the current stage must be held but not used until the stage where they become legal. As I said earlier, there will be 10 stages to this challenge. The first stage corresponds to wood and paper, and those will be the main resources used in that stage. The simplicity of the stage is matched by its completion requirements. All I need is a one-room hut, a simple lumber mill, and a toolmaker's shed, and I won't even require the lumber mill to be completely enclosed. The hut requires a bed, double chest, and door. The lumber mill needs a chest and a crafting station, and the toolmaker's shed needs a stencil table, pattern chest, part builder, and tool station. Food in this stage will be dependent on forage. I don't expect this to be a problem as the stage should be short. The second stage will be the start of my mining. To properly start the stage, I need a flint pickaxe, flint mattock, and some kind of flint sword to be made. To complete this stage, I need to add a kitchen to the hut, starting the process of turning it into my imperial palace, as well as build a storehouse with at least 1 barrel, a farm with 100 food crops planted. I know it sounds like a lot, but I assure you it's not going to be that hard to get the seeds. And 2 huts. One of the huts will be for my farmer, and the other will be for the lumberjack. Once I have all of that, I can move on to stage 3. Stage 3 is where I begin using metals and plotting my expansion. The flint tools I made in stage 2 must be either upgraded or replaced with copper tools, which requires an early smeltery. The palace needs a 3rd room, and the huts need to be upgraded to hovels with the expansion of a 2nd room. Additionally, some mechanism is required to ensure that I can keep track of the requirements for any given stage. From this point on, the challenge is not fully defined. The tracker that I must build no later than stage 3 will allow me to set and track the requirements, but until the end of the stage, they are subject to revision. The restrictions above, however, are absolutely binding and no deviation is allowed from them. They represent my best judgments about how to make the challenge and the resulting builds more interesting. With respect to the texture pack, I will be using primarily the John Smith Technicians Remix pack. However, due to technical limitations, I will revert to the vanilla pack while flying. Finally, allow me to briefly explain what will and will not be done on camera. While some viewers prefer to see everything done on camera, not everything will be interesting on camera. Technical setups and at least the first example of every building type will be done on camera. However, tedious or repetitive tasks such as farm maintenance, fishing, and mining will be done off camera to avoid boredom. Now that I've explained how the Industriville series will work, I hope that you were looking forward to it. The first proper episode will be uploaded Friday, May the 15th, 2015 at 6 p.m. U.S. Central Time.